All right, so this is going to be a little bit on how to use the lasso tool. So you probably have a reverse engineered part. So you probably have your parts laid out. What you're going to want to do is get rid of the background on them. So I'm going to open an example. I'm going to use these dogs. So on Photoshop, you would import the picture that you have. And the first thing you need to do is click this lock because you need to unlock the layer, otherwise you won't be able to work in it. So if I want to separate each of these dogs and make them new pictures, I can do that using the lasso tool. So the third tool down usually is the lasso tool. If you right click it, you'll see three options: lasso, polygonal, and magnetic. Depending on your part, if your part's like really square, use the polygonal. So polygonal just creates straight lines. That would be useful if these dogs were like cubes or squares, which they're not. The lasso tool, the plain lasso tool, is kind of useless. The magnetic lasso tool is the one that is the best. So let me show you how this works. So I've unlocked my layer, and you start the lasso tools on the edge of your object. So you have engineered parts or parts that you took apart from your reverse engineering project. So you start at the edge of one, you click, and you simply just move your mouse. Now, the magnetic lasso tool works very well when the colors are very distinctly different. So you can see this is perfectly outlining, for the most part, the dog. Okay, you can see the bottom's a little rough. This is working pretty good. I'm going around. You're going to be going around a part. But let's say I make a mistake, right? If I start to go off and get crazy, the backspace button on your keyboard will erase the points, just so you know. Okay, so if you get lost, just backspace a few times. And you can also click and make your own points. You'll find that sometimes when you're doing this, it'll make like a point up here every time. It just won't be able to like cling to the surface, so you have to hit backspace and click your own points sometimes. But I'm going to go all the way around, and when you've finished outlining your object or part, you just click on the first one you started. And notice it highlights it, okay? Now, a couple things here. If you're missing little parts, like let's say it went through the object a little bit, like down there you can see, I didn't get all of the dog. If you hover over, it's going to be, what is this one? This one, add to selection, and sometimes it's already clicked. You can just click, and you can kind of make another circle and add to it, and it'll fix whatever was wrong. So you can see I'm clicking to make my own this time. And that's that's decent. If you really want to, you can right click and use the plain lasso tool so it doesn't do any snapping. So now it's like fully done there. Okay, and what you're going to do to separate this part or dog or whatever you're separating, you're going to right click and you do layer via, you can do layer via copy, and I'm going to click it. Okay, now over here, you've just made a new layer with a dog. So let me show you what happened. If I turn off my picture, I have the dog by itself. You could then proceed to file, export as like a picture file, and you can save that as a picture file. Then you would just turn this off, turn this back on, cut out your second part, do the same process, lasso it, save it as a picture, turn this picture back on, lasso, save as a picture, and that's how you can get rid of the background in all of your parts.